A lot to talk about with our first guest here on the Oakland County MegaCast, State Senator Jim Runestad. He is with the 15th Congressional District. Thank you for being with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.
Thank you for having me.
We have so many things to talk about. Let's start, if we can just start, the restrictions, the Michigan pause is set to expire tomorrow. Any word that you're hearing about this being extended?
No, I haven't heard anything from the governor's office. Part of the real frustration that the legislature has had all the way through this entire pandemic is the lack of communication about what is going to be occurring, what can we both come together to agree upon. It's been very frustrating. We have a divided government constitutionally for a purpose. And that went all the way to the Michigan Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled that a governor does not have arbitrary powers indefinitely to make decisions without the legislature. So I would certainly hope going forward we can get some more cooperation between the two branches of government.
Yeah, there seems to be so much finger pointing. The governor will hold a press conference and say the Republican lawmakers aren't working with her on trying to set some of these restrictions, but yet they're still coming out from the health department. So is there anything really that the two sides can come together on, or do these health orders continue to trump anything that you could possibly be working on?
At this point, I believe we're going to have a hard time overturning the health department orders. We were able to go to court on executive orders, but the laws aren't as clear as in terms of these health department orders. So it's really a matter of will the government, legislature get together, have some discussions so that we can all agree. There's many things we agree upon. It's just the arbitrary nature and the unilateral nature that has really been a problem here.
So, and with that, Senator, can we talk a little bit? A vaccine is on the horizon. We're all excited about that. What are your thoughts about how the plans there are so many logistical plans involved in trying to roll this out to the public. What are your thoughts on that process? And are there discussions with the lawmakers on how that's going to happen?
Well, I issued a letter to the governor and the departments at the state of Michigan, indicating a preference be given to first responders and to those who are elderly, particularly those who are in a nursing home. It has hit the nursing home population worse by far than any other population in Michigan. So they have to be our number one concern with this vaccine. And going forward, that has got to be an option for them to be given this vaccine first.
When we're talking about that, this is still a new vaccine. A lot of people maybe aren't comfortable getting the vaccine just yet. And, and just like when you get the flu vaccine, sometimes there are side effects. So there could be concern from their loved ones that maybe the elderly can't handle the side effects as well.
Absolutely. I am not going to in any way advocate forced vaccination. This would be an option that the family would have a discussion, talk about the benefits, and then make a decision on what's best for them. What I'm advocating for is the access be given to them first and foremost above the general population, which is not nearly as much at risk.
So, Senator, will you be rolling up your sleeve to get the vaccine?
Potentially. I'll have to look at doing all the research before I make that decision.
I will tell you, I'm with myself. I don't get the flu vaccine either, so I'm a little nervous. But at least for me, I'm on the end of the spectrum as far as when it can even become available to me. But
Right.
it's one of those things that it's a lot to really kind of think about, and it makes you wonder going forward this conversation how it's going to continue. Like some businesses, will they require people to have the vaccine to come to work or to come into the office? We saw where Ticketmaster is going to require the vaccine or a negative test in order to go to a concert. So I think it's going to be interesting. This next year is going to be very much so much focus on this vaccine and the legal aspects surrounding it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, guaranteed there will be a lot of lawsuits that will be filed pertaining to all of these different scenarios that come up.
State Senator Jim Runestad with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast. He represents the 15th district here in the state of Michigan, which is the western part of Oakland County, including Orchard Lake right here in our backyard as well. With that, I know you've been a huge advocate for trying to get some help, or at least try to curb porch pirates. We are going into the Christmas holiday shopping season. People still not comfortable going out into the stores, into the malls. And so with that, they are, shopping more than ever online, which is also leading to an increase in porch pirates. Do you want to talk a little bit about your effort to curb that?
Yes, I began working on this a number of years ago. And what was the genesis was the post office down in Detroit. They were faced with so many of these calls, and the post office inspector said it's a federal crime, but there's absolutely no enforcement because they don't have the resources to go after these cases. So the calls would come in and they would log them in, and that'd be the end of it. Well, the problem just exploded in Amazon cases alone. In Michigan was over 18,000 thefts. So it is a huge, huge number. And what happened is when the thieves started realizing there's no enforcement, they would just follow these trucks around. As soon as they pull out of the driveway, they go in and steal the packages. So I was able to get through a bill making it a misdemeanor on a local level, and a pretty significant misdemeanor, so that the local law enforcement could go after them. Before, the local law enforcement provisions, now they will go after them on the local level. If you spot somebody stealing packages, just last week in Macomb, I saw an article that somebody on their Ring camera saw somebody stealing the packages. Fortunately, a neighbor didn't recognize this car and it looked suspicious, got the license plate number, and so they were able to capture these guys and go after them. So it is something now that we're able to deal with. Enforcement prosecutors all were asking for this. We got it passed, and so now make sure you keep an eye on those packages, and if you see something suspicious, call the police.
Yeah, this really has become not just an individual effort or a police effort. It is a community effort, because the more and more people you speak to, they've all become a victim of these porch pirates. So, and a reminder to the neighbors, if you are going to do something like that, get the license plate number. If you do it, just be very careful, because we are seeing where everyone has a camera now, it appears. So you can be watching it go down, but you can't really do anything to stop them right then and there. And it's got to be so frustrating.
It certainly said if they're aware, snap a picture of that license plate. Even if it's from a distance, you're probably gonna be safe to take that picture. We can blow it up and look at it, and that's the best way to get them.
Yeah, the license plate is the key there. And with that, State Senator, I know that you have an education background. It is near and dear to your heart. So many parents are frustrated with the education system right now and remote learning. Are you getting calls from some of your constituents, and what are they telling you?
Consistently that they feel the remote learning is a a very small ability to impact these students. You're talking about elementary students who need to have attention directed. Um, Trying to make this happen over a Zoom is extremely difficult for these parents. And then just being able to work the time frames out so the parent can be able to work. And it is certainly not the ideal. My hope is that to the degree possible, we can get back to in-classroom instruction. And hopefully this vaccination is going to make a difference where more and more people can safely get back into a classroom, because what I hear from parents is it's not a good situation.
Yeah, and you wonder how many kids are going to be left behind to have to repeat maybe a year of instruction due to the remote learning. And we know the school districts and superintendents are doing the best that they can and trying to provide the best education. Everyone is kind of stuck in this COVID crisis and trying to survive it. With that, as an elected leader, do you think there's a positive, long-term positive that's going to come out of this?
In what regard? In
Just
education or?
just in general. Well, if let's just say from a lawmaker's standpoint, is there a way for this to bring our elected leaders together to try to address some of these long-term issues, such as unemployment in the state of Michigan?
Well, I think it's a, a case where the legislature generally works together when they see a problem. And I expect that that is what's going to continue happening. If you were to look at the number of bills that go through unanimous or almost unanimous, it's the vast majority of bills. There's some contentious ones, but the majority of the time when the legislature sees a problem, we agree in terms of going after that. And I think there's going to be a lot of that going forward. It's just, again, I'm going to go back and say it's been a lack of communication in terms of first plans and how do we respond to that? What are our thoughts about it? That's been a problem. Hopefully that's going to get fixed in the next year. It would be beneficial, I think, to everybody in the state of Michigan if that happens.
I remember back in the day, there was discussion about streamlining our elected leaders. The state of Michigan is one of a handful of states that has full-time elected leaders. And it's not just how many people are full-time, but it's also all the people that work in your offices as well. So many companies are finding that remote work is beneficial and they're streamlining. Do you think that could be an outcome for the state of Michigan one day?
Oh, certainly it could be. I will say that with my staff, I communicate with them literally 7 days a week. I try not to, and I try to not do that, but and my wife gets after me for doing that, but I communicate with them usually 7 days, at least there's going to be emails, at least on Saturday and Sunday. And sometimes, usually during the week, it's from the morning until the night. They're getting calls, text, emails from me relentlessly, having them do stuff in the district. So in terms of my staff, I run 80,000 people, and I have 4 staff that work every minute of that time. We give them good constituent service, so it depends just how much would we want to default into, say, a state typing pool type of scenario where, say, the governor oversees all the staff. I make sure every single call, email gets back, every single one. If that doesn't happen, there's an issue. Would the governor be all of the 38 senators, 110 legislators to that degree of concern? So it's to a degree you get what you're implementing in terms of a plan. And I can tell you in my case, my constituents get every bit of service for the money they spend.
Yeah, I would. Well, and that could be the flip side, right? It ends that conversation of having part-time legislators because the need for your services have been so great and the calls have been pouring in, especially unemployment. So many people having issues with the unemployment system here in the state of Michigan. I know people in your offices and offices across the state have been instrumental in helping some of these constituents get the help that they need through the unemployment system. What about financial help for some of these businesses as the crisis continues to carry on into 2021?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a new world with this COVID in terms of how things are done. I think going into sometime next year when the vaccination is more readily prevalent, and I think eventually this virus is going to just take a natural downturn that will get back to some normalcy. But until then, there's these new. I frankly enjoy this doing Zoom calls, and it's very, very convenient. So that's probably going to be a permanent fixture to some extent, regardless of what happens with the virus.
I will say the one thing good about the Zoom calls is we get a window into individuals' lives, and you are looking like you are very much in the holiday spirit right now.
Yes, I am. This is my holiday vest. I wear it a lot in December.
That is awesome. Well, anything that I didn't touch on that you want our listeners and our viewers to know before I let you go?
Yes, real briefly, there is a bill that I have that is over in the House now, passed unanimous out of the Senate, and it is to require nursing homes to let a family put a camera in the room. And especially now with these isolated individuals of imperative bill, that is coming up for a vote this week. So in the House of Representatives, whoever their representative is, if they could call them and say, yes, that nursing home camera bill, vote yes, because even some of the best bills I've ever seen get kneecapped in what's called lame duck. That's where we're at. We're at the very end. If it doesn't pass this year, it's dead. So I'd urge them to make that call.
Yeah, I am really surprised that this has been such an issue because I know there are a lot of protective areas around this bill as well. It's not like you can just, put it in anyone's room. It has to be a family
Yeah,
member and kind of contained. And I think now more than ever, it is so vital for the health of the individual because, we've all covered and seen those horrific cases of elder abuse within the nursing homes. And you worry about that even more so without someone there to keep a watchful eye.
absolutely. It's imperative. And like I said, I'd urge all of your listeners to make a call saying to their legislator, vote yes on the nursing home camera bill, House Bill, Senate Bill 77.
When is the vote? Do you know?
I believe that it's tomorrow.
Okay.
So they would have to call tomorrow, today.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, Senator, we appreciate your time so much, as always, for being with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast. We extend our well wishes to you as well as your family members for the upcoming holiday season.
Thank you, Ronnie. I so enjoy doing the show. Thank you very much.